Hello children, welcome back to Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School channel. So in the last session we have started with lesson 8 social and political life, that is ushered in the market. So let us continue with the same lesson, page number 98. Open your textbooks, we will complete the lesson. Okay. So children, now we were on this page, we have completed this paragraph, the profit, how much the profit the owner is getting. The garment exporter sold the shirt at 300 per piece. The cloth and other raw materials cost him rupees 100 per shirt. The worker's wages another 25 per shirt. The cost of the running of his office came to rupees 25 per shirt. Can you calculate the profit per shirt for the garment exporter? Now you can calculate the profit. Okay, how much is gaining? Who are the gainers in the market? The chain of markets links the producer of cotton to the buyer at the supermarket. Buying and selling takes place at every step in the chain. Let us recall who were the people who were involved in this process of buying and selling. Did they all gain as much? There were people who made profits in the market and there were some who did not gain as much from this buying and selling. Despite their having toiled very hard, they earned little. Can you place them in the table shown here? Now see who are the gainers here. Now we saw the chain of markets links the producer of cotton to the buyer at the supermarket. Buying and selling takes place in every step. Let us recall who were the people who were involved in this process of buying and selling. Did they all gain as much? In the last lesson also we saw this. There were people who made profits in the market and there were some who did not gain as much as from this buying and selling. Okay. Now this is the table. We will see it afterwards. Now we will go to next topic, market and equality. The foreign business person made huge profits in the market. Compared to this, the garment exporter made only moderate profits. On the other hand, the earnings of the workers at the garment export factory are barely enough to cover their day-to-day needs. Now see here, who is gaining huge profits? The foreign business person, of course, in the market. Okay. Now compared to them, the garment exporter, okay, little bit moderate they are getting profits. On the other hand, the workers who are working at the garment export factory, they are getting very low wage, very low amount, by that which they can fulfill their day-to-day needs only. Similarly, we saw the small cotton farmer and the weaver at Erode put in long hours of hard work, but they did not get a fair price in the market for what they produced. The merchants or traders are somewhere in between. Compared to the weavers, they have earned more, but it is still much less than the exporter. Thus, not everyone gains equally in the market. Democracy is also about getting a fair wage in the market, whether it is Kanta or Swapna. If families don't earn enough, how would they think of themselves as equal to others? You can see the people, the between people, how much they are getting, who is working hard and how much he is getting, and who is getting a finished product and for how much profit he is selling. In this way we can understand unequal things. Okay. Now here the families of Kanta or Swapna, if families don't earn enough, then how do they think that they are equal to others? That is the truth. On one hand, the market offers people opportunities to work and to be able to sell things that they grow or produce. It could be the farmer selling cotton or weaver producing cloth. On the other hand, it is usually a rich and powerful that get the maximum earnings from the market. These are the people who have money and own the factories. They have much money, so they own the factories, the large shops, large land holdings, etc. Okay. The poor have to depend because they don't have money. They go and work under some other people. So for that they are doing hard work and they are getting very low prices. Sorry, salaries they are getting. The poor have to depend on the price and the powerful for various things. They have to depend for loans, as in case of Swapna and the small farmer, for raw materials and marketing of their goods, weavers in putting out system, and most often for employment workers at the garment factory. Because of these dependence, the poor are exploited in the market. There are ways to overcome this, such as forming cooperatives of producers and ensuring that laws are followed strictly. In the last chapter, we will read about how one such fish workers cooperative was started on the Tava river. Now here we could see, now the small farmer Swapna, she has to borrow the money and sell her produce for a very low price, and here weavers for raw material. Now weavers in the putting out system, we saw them also, the weavers, they are getting very where they are getting the raw material like yarn, and they are weaving the cloth and giving, but they are getting very low amount. And workers at the garment factory also, they are working hard, but they are getting very less amount. In this way, because of these dependence, the poor people are exploited in the market, and there are ways to overcome such type of exploitations or inequality. Okay. Where some cooperatives are there and they are ensuring the laws and following strictly, to follow the laws strictly. So in the last chapter we are going to read about fish workers who had started the cooperative in Tava river. Now in this way we have completed this lesson. I think so you have understood the lesson properly, and what are the differences, inequalities faced by the people. Okay. Now we will stop this lesson, and children, without wasting our time, we will go to the next lesson, that is struggles for equality. Now in this way,
students, let us explore the following concepts in this chapter.
First.
People struggles.
We'll start from the
struggles
beginning.
For equality.
What is this chapter? Lesson number 9, struggles for equality. Now first we will understand the concepts and we will see some of the concepts.
Students, let us explore the following concepts in this chapter. People struggles in history. Why do people wage struggles? Case studies. Soliga tribe. BD workers. Tava Matsya Sangh. Indian Constitution as a living document. Expansion of democracy.
So these are the concepts. Okay.
We will now view the following animation to understand how people struggle against inequality, the outcomes of their struggle, the reasons behind the emergence of inequality, and the methods used to fight against it.
So there is one animation by which we will understand how people struggle against inequality, the outcomes of their struggle, after struggling what outcomes they got, the reasons behind the emergence of inequality and the methods used to fight against it. Okay.
Have you heard about Rosa Parks, B.R. Ambedkar, Martin Luther King, and Nelson Mandela? Can you tell what is common amongst all these people? Well, all these people struggled in the past for equality. As a consequence of people's struggle, certain outcomes evolved, like equal right to elect the government, equality of opportunity, formulation of strict laws against discrimination, special government programs like midday meal scheme to end social and economic inequalities. Despite all these achievements, the struggle for equality continues in society. Inequality arises because of poverty, lack of resources, unequal distribution of power, discrimination based on race, gender, caste, and physical disabilities, etc. Some areas are progressing with development. Urbanization and industrialization, whereas some areas have a still backward lifestyle. Whenever a dam is constructed or a forest is changed into a sanctuary, thousands of people are displaced from their traditional habitats. Eventually, people are compelled to start new lives elsewhere. As a result, problems of displacement ultimately leads to struggle for equality. Even in our own country, there are still many inequalities that are continuing from the past. For example, in some areas people don't feel happy at the birth of a girl child. And even today, girls are kept deprived of education. There are several struggles in which people have come together to fight for social issues. For example, the women's movement led the Supreme Court to formulate guidelines against sexual harassment at workplace and educational institutes. Signature campaigns, composing poems and songs, organizing street plays and rallies, road blockage, and public demonstrations are the various ways by which people raise their voice for equality.
People's struggles in history. Equality does not extend to most of the people's lives in our country. New struggles. How has the nature of struggle for equality changed in the present times? Are the issues taken up today similar to those in the previous centuries? The nature of people's struggles has changed over the centuries. While old struggles continue, New issues have also emerged. With development, urbanization and industrialization, people are facing new challenges. There are struggles against dams, mining activities, slum removals, etc. In a democracy, there are always communities and individuals trying to push the idea of democracy and push for a greater recognition of equality. Why do people wage struggles? Let us examine the nature of these diverse struggles and how they impact our democracy. People initiate struggles to gain equal rights, treatment and respect with others. Marginalized sections wage struggles to get themselves heard and put forward their demands. Mass movements and struggles mean to put pressure on the government to redress their issues. Throughout the world, in every community, village, city or town, you will find that there are some people who are socially and economically neglected and not given due respect. These people stand up against acts of discrimination that they face. They unite themselves to seek their common cause and address a particular issue of inequality. Case studies: Sulika tribe, Bedi workers, Tava Matsya Sangh. Let's look at the case of Sulika tribe in southern India. This is a case of inequality due to lack of control over resources. The Biligiri Ranga Hills is a hill range situated in southeastern Karnataka. The area is called Biligiri Ranga Swami Temple Wildlife Sanctuary. Sulika means people of the bamboo, a name based on their belief that their ancestors originated from the bamboo. Sulikas are closely associated with nature and believe that human life is interlinked with the ecosystem. Their association with nature is reflected in their local tribal laws. One such law is that fruits and berries are harvested only from trees on which flowers grow in abundance, and very ripe and raw fruits are not collected. This leaves enough fruits for birds and other animals that also depend on them. In 2010, the Union Ministry of Environment and Forests gave the approval for a tiger reserve status to the sanctuary. But a tiger reserve could imply that substantial portions of the forest would be rendered inaccessible for human habitation or activity. This could mean that 5,129 Solikas who live in the forest would lose their land rights and access to forest resources. As a result, the Solika men and women protested against the new stringent forest protection status, with green scarves symbolizing the color of the forest tied across their faces. They feared that this would deny them access to resources and land upon which they depended for generations for livelihood and survival. Their community life was in threat. Students, let us now answer the following question. The reason behind the Sulika people protesting against the government measure to declare the Biligiri Ranga Swami Temple Wildlife Sanctuary a tiger reserve was: the government wanted to displace the Sulika tribe from the region. The Sulika people wanted to hunt the tiger animal in the sanctuary. The Sulika people feared that the step of declaring the sanctuary a tiger reserve would lead to a loss of their livelihood. The Sulika people feared that if the sanctuary was declared a tiger reserve, it would lead to the depletion of wildlife in the region. Let's look at another case of inequality due to uneven treatment at workplace. Struggle of beedi workers. Beedi industry is a centuries-old industry in India. A large labor force is engaged in different processes of beedi making from its production to consumption. The beedi industry employs more than 4 million workers, including children, most of them being wage earners. About 75% of beedi workers in the country suffer from multiple illnesses due to continuous exposure to tobacco. Beedi workers were getting lowest wages amongst all the working communities in the country. They were getting just rupees 50 per 1000 beedi rolling, which was not enough by any standard for a family to survive. Demands raised by beedi workers. The demands raised by beedi workers were as follows. Beedi workers should be paid as per the Minimum Wages Act. The amount of annual pension should also be raised. Simultaneously, health facilities should also be provided to the beedi workers. Let's examine the case of inequality due to exclusion in the decision-making process. Case study: Tawa Matsya Sangh. The Tawa Matsya Sangh, or TMS, in Madhya Pradesh is an example of people coming together to fight for an issue. We will now view the circumstances which led to the struggle of the forest people in Madhya Pradesh, as well as its outcome by viewing the following animation.
Tawa Matsya Sangh. Learning objectives. This animation will help students to explain the Tawa Matsya Sangh. The Tawa Matsya Sangh is a federation of fish workers cooperative which fought for the livelihood rights of the displaced forest dwellers of the Satpura forest, Madhya Pradesh, for to get the fishing rights in Tawa reservoir. The Tawa river originates in the Mahadev hills of Chhindwara district of Madhya Pradesh. The Tawa Dam project began in 1958 and was completed in 1978, but submerged a large area of forests and agricultural land, consequently displacing the local forest and agricultural land dwellers. The poor farmers were given land somewhere else as compensation, and the forest dwellers were just living hand to mouth. Few of the displaced people began fishing in the reservoir but earned too little. In 1994, the government gave the fishing rights to private contractors. The unfriendly contractors got cheap laborers from outside and drove poor villagers out. As a result, the villagers united for their rights under the leadership of the Kisan Adivasi Sangathan and formed Tawa Matsya Sangh. In the year 1996, Madhya Pradesh government granted the fishing rights to the displaced villagers. After 2 months, a 5-year lease agreement was signed. On January 2, 1997, dwellers of 33 villages started catching fish. The fish workers' cooperatives helped villagers to increase their earnings. The fishermen started getting the fair value for their catch. The logistics are also maintained by the Tawa Matsya Sangh cooperative. The fishermen can avail easy loans to buy net and other fishing resources. New techniques used to preserve fish have also been promoted.
Under the TMS, the income of the fish workers increased substantially. Simultaneously, arrangements were made to sell fish in the market at a good price. Loans were also given to fish workers for repairing and buying new nets. They obtained fishing rights in the reservoir after being locked in a struggle with the state government for 5 years. On December 23, 2006, their license to fish in the reservoir expired, thus leading to a renewal of the struggle. Indian Constitution as a living document. Movements and struggles for equality in India continuously refer to the Indian Constitution. Why is it so? The ideals of equality and justice are important features of the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution is a living document as amendments are continuously being made to keep the Constitution in pace with the changing society. New laws are added to meet the new challenges. The Constitution provides a framework for the government to do certain positive things to express the aspirations and goals of the society. By constantly referring to the Constitution, the government and judiciary use it as a living document, that is, something that has real meaning in our lives. The framers of the Indian Constitution thought that each individual in society should have all that is necessary for them to lead a life of dignity and self-respect, minimum material well-being, education, etc. The Indian Constitution thus enables the government to take positive welfare measures. Expansion of democracy. Let us now understand how the various struggles for equality have had an impact on the scope of democracy in our country. Political participation today is not just confined to elections. Struggles for equality have mobilized large number of people from various groups like Dalits, women, street vendors, farmers, Adivasis, etc. Different social and economic groups have become increasingly aware of their rights and are mobilizing themselves to seek equal opportunities and respect. There is a greater consciousness of empowerment among local groups. This has extended the frontiers of democracy.
So this is the question. Let us now answer the following. The reason behind the Tava Matsya Sangh renewing its struggle in 2006 for Adivasi fishermen in the Tava region was. Let's see the answer. It is answer B. The license that was granted to the Adivasis to fish in Tava reservoir got expired in 2006.
Recapitulation. Not all groups of people enjoy the same level of equality. As a result, different groups of people launch their struggles to gain equal rights, treatment and respect. Examples of such struggles in India include the struggle of Soliga people in southeast Karnataka, the Bidi workers movement and the Tava Matsya Sangh in Madhya Pradesh. As a result, the Indian government takes welfare measures by passing new laws and making amendments to the Constitution to cope with the ever-changing demands of society. Simultaneously, various groups of people form and participate in the movements of equality, thus expanding the scope of democracy in our country. Recapitulation. Not all groups of people enjoy the same level of equality. As a result, different groups of people launch their struggles to gain equal rights.
Okay children, in this way we have completed lesson number 8 and started with lesson number 9 also, struggles for equality. So today we have seen the animation and the video, and in the next session we are going to read the lesson. Till then, take care, bye.